tonight to go through the property, a little more detail. But both of these items 1 and 2 are actionable tonight to give us in the planning department the ability to go and negotiate. We have done appraisals and you've seen some of those in some of the content. And we want to discuss those. I said, students about the war, we are looking for action on both pieces just to go negotiate. They won't take any further action outside of this committee for that. Right, so turn it over to Mr. McCann.
So, the first item is the quasi road property. And so just to recap on what we do every month, we always put a certain amount of money in for property purchasing, knowing that we might have to buy property for future bond projects or future expansion throughout the district. So, there's trigger points that happen when we do need to go out and we start looking at different pieces of property. The appraisal is the one that we feel are valuable to us. So this property, the trigger point was in the appraisal here, the system. So our trigger point for this was we have at the primary school level, we have a lot of students that are in the 4 schools that we have. So when we normally build a primary school, the goal is 600, but we build it to the goal is 600, but we build it towards 750 for capacity. Right now, when we got back our October 1st numbers, 3 of the 4 in that feeder system, which is Galvez primary, Oak Grove primary, Grayville primary, and Sugar Mill primary. 3 of the 4 are over that 740 capacity. And when we look at our projections 5 years down the road, all 4 primary schools will be over that 740 capacity. So that's why this was a trigger for us to go out, search for a piece of property in the Prairie area to make sure that we are planning for growth and making sure that we don't have those schools that are overpopulated. So we looked at a couple of different properties. We really like the one in Quasi. It's very centralized in that district. It's on the main road off of Quasi, intersects very close to Highway 4. And so what we're asking for y'all to, and all of the appraisal numbers are in executive content. So if you want to go and look at those, we feel like market value price, we're getting a really good, we got a really good appraisal back from our appraisal vendor. And so about 15 acres again on Causey Road. And so what we're asking y'all for an actionable item tonight is for us to start negotiations with the property owner for this piece of property.
Okay, board, is there any questions before we're gonna go to item number 2 or to discuss the rev partial? We're gonna do both of them at the same time, Joe? We can. Okay, we're gonna discuss the rev partial property.
We got it. Yeah, you go first and then you can switch. Oh, yeah, just one thing I want to add. So when you look at the picture where it says Highway 44, that business at the corner of that lot you see is the Loans Do It Center. Just to give you a point of reference, about that. Then you go west, and then which piece of property is north of College Road, very square nature tree, did flood.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
that was the question I had too, like how much spill, but very little, right?
Yeah, well, and we hadn't done a survey yet, so we don't know the exact, elevations, we just know it didn't flood. So depending on where it's sitting, those kind of things, I say, right off the top of my head, that's gonna be somewhere around 15 minimum, elevation.
My question was out of curiosity. I know it wasn't listed. Are they willing to sell? Do you know?
Yeah, so they actually reached out to us.
Okay.
So there's 4 siblings, 3 brothers and 1 sister. And the sister was an educator in Ascension. So little tidbit, the piece north, they have about the same section north of this that opens to Adam James. They just sold that to the parish government. So AP Gov has that piece. So I think this was part of their plan, just putting it out there. So when this, we always keep our eyes open, to see when we send the parish at it, and this call us 6 to 8 months ago, now it felt like, absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
But it wasn't for sale, not a real yet.
yeah, I read on the appraisal and I saw it said it wasn't for sale. I know we had spoke a little bit about this, but I didn't know if it wasn't for sale. I was just curious. So yeah.
That's it.
No, I was saying was actionable, so we had to.
I mean, the location works out real well. That area.
So the motion would be to, allow you all to proceed with negotiations.
Negotiations.
See, also.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Laney, a second by Mr. Concater. Any objection to the motion? So carries. Okay. We'll move on to item number 2, discuss the Rev property, partial property.
Yeah, so one thing I wanna make sure before we get into, number 2 is in the bond issue, we had, 1 million for property. Right, this is a little bit over, you put both of these together, it's gonna be a little bit more than that. So, probably to the tune of maybe $125,000 to $150,000, so I wanna make sure y'all understand that before you let us go to an action item to go negotiate. That it is a little bit more than what the bond had in there, we would use all that obviously first, but then we would have to go in and find some other funding source, to acquire both pieces. About 125 to 150 over the million. For both pieces of property, yes.
So you're saying 125 totally over?
Right, as far as the value for, you know, everything together, that's what we're at. So I don't want you to make that decision without understanding, what you would do, so before we get into number 2, that's what I'm going.
Yep, so, second item is, the parcel around, our current hub, which was owned by Rev. We obviously, y'all know we bought the building from Rev, we converted that into the hub, that houses a lot of our, most of our IT folks and a lot of instructional folks as well, and so this came about, you can see how we really don't have full ownership of the parking lot. And so when all of the IT folks, all the instructional folks are parked there, just their day-to-day activities, we're a little bit tight on parking. We also have built some fabulous training facilities or training rooms in this building as well. So if we have a principals meeting or a large gathering, we're really, really tight on property or on parking. So one of the big advantages we see is we have the whole parking lot just for our use. Rev would sell that piece to us. I know Rev, typically the first 2 rows, they rent out to the courthouse, so that would be part of this, we would have full access to the entire property. We also like the piece on the west side, because if we ever needed to create a loop for major delivery, the 18-wheelers, y'all are probably familiar with a lot of our campuses now, we built a loop around just for better access to different parts of the building, and so we really think if there ever was a road needed to come on the back side of the hub, and to be able to funnel out into that parking lot, that would be a good advantage from 18-wheeler pallets, different things like that. You can also see in the grass field next to it, that would also be part of it. You can see the little lawyer's office, who we all know who that office is not part of this, but that whole grassy area to the left, it's just great real estate for us to have. If we did need to build for future expansion, we could easily come off that building and build an addition or whatever we see fit on that extra grassy piece of property. And so again, this is around 3.3 acres, mainly for the ability for us to have full ownership of that parking lot, to build a loop if we need to, and just for future expansion. Again, in executive content, the appraisal price is in there, and so we feel like this is a great piece of property to help out all of our folks that are housed at the hub. And so with that, we are asking for y'all to approve us to move forward with negotiations with Rev on this piece of property.
Thank you, Danny.
Yep.
Any questions from the board?
If you still share the front parking lot with the parents or what? Everybody.
We bought it, all now, they may have this, for overflows to the house, overflows would be, it's not, when they have a huge, proceeding or something like that, they ask to, go into that, we have to, talk to them, who would still want to do that.
That was an agreement that Rev had set up with the courthouse, so once it becomes ours, if they don't come out to us, we can negotiate with them if we see fit, but it was that partnership, or I guess that area that they're normally parking would not, we would have the full access of everything.
Mr. Murphy?
Oh, I was just there this week, and I'm not trying to knock nothing. I'm parked in the front row. I mean, next to the bill, and I get it about, but we're talking about a little over $250,000. Which is, I think, what I usually see are East Ascension school buses in the front, or whoever.
Going to football, and you have buses there sometimes too, yes. Red doesn't allow us to do that.
Yes.
If y'all really think, and we are asking. If we approve this one and the other one, which doesn't mean we can get either one, because we're in negotiations with the other one. And we'll be over the budget. And I just want us to really kind of think about that. I mean, I take not, y'all chocolate blocking there right now? I mean, every office is filled, one day I think we may expand. I mean, because, hey, I just like, I'm not trying to say we don't need, okay? I just want us to say we need to really look at 3.3 acres, which is not gonna be, because that, I don't know what you can build on that little black corner over there. For teachers meetings, principal meetings and all that. But.
Ms. Murphy, to speak to your point.
Go ahead.
It does drop going to the bayou, so buildings back in the back would be tough. That's why we said if you do want this piece of property, it's really far loop. If you wanted to build, you have to come closer to Ward Worthy to do that building. Part of the parking issue is when we have meetings there, when it's a principal meeting or something like that, that's when the overflow comes in. And then obviously, we always have some issues with buses, that's why we park there. So sometimes we're able to call us and say, hey, can you move the buses? You know, there's something going on at the courthouse, you know, it is tight there. I get what you're saying, but that was the only reasons. So to back up a little bit, maybe Mr. Bourgeois' question will come next is, how did we hear about this? It's not on the,
Right.
you don't have the realtor. Rev had kept it, they wanted to sell this originally when we purchased the hub. They kept it out because there was thoughts that they would build a new home office for them. I think that has since passed, so now they're saying, hey, it's back to sale again. Would y'all want to do it? So that's the only reason we're sitting here entertaining. So we're just looking at, hey, what do we need it for? We would be for anything that you want to expand west and really closer to Worthy is what you would build it on, and then have the access to the full park. That would be
Ms. Blue,
Okay, do we share the hub with someone else right now?
the hub is ours. It's fully ours.
Mr. Bourgeois,
Just, Mr. Murphy got me thinking a little bit, because he always, we go back to long way. So, a way we can just buy the parking lot, then we might stay within our $1 million and. Leave it part of the left.
We asked that, I don't think that was part of what, you know, I think they're looking to square off whatever they had and be done with it, so I don't think the parking lot by itself was part of everything. But we can ask again.
But and my point,
okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
and what Mr. Bourgeois is, what they think you're gonna get out of that parking lot? Okay, who else gonna buy it? I think this, like the other one, let's move very, in my opinion, let's move very forward with negotiations. Let's let you guys go back and talk to Red, parking lot first, we'll still consider this. But I mean, to me, there's no benefit to them. We might get even talk to Parish Council to help us pay, since they use that for overflow time. We could have a relationship where you give us advance notice, we could ask our bus people to park in Sorrento, not that far from EA, but that day, that they will be overflow. I mean, just, we have 11 people here that's gonna go, hey, they live in Dover, you see the whole thing, hey,
It's land.
I think the other point is, we have two diesel generators back there. Bringing one of those trucks back there
Yes,
and
like that.
not being able to bring it around the front can present obstacles. Completely understand what you're saying, but there's multiple factors that you gotta consider that. Right now, there's only 20 feet off the side of that building that we own. So we can't bring something coming back to the front. That's just another thought from where we use it every day. That's what we see out of that.
So, dog, is that concrete I'm seeing going behind?
That's gravel.
That's gravel.
Concrete stops about,
Okay, but so that whole thing right there is gravel, the wider section on the road. And that's the problem, back and forth,
we're currently, they don't load it on the back, they sort of move around, that's part of it, when you are loaded, there's not a spot to be able to turn around, you gotta back it all the way in, or,
I get it.
Any other questions, board? This is Bourgeois.
This from I guess a salesman standpoint, I mean, we said away the end of the price, what, $275? The end of the means, you know. No one what else, I'm like Mr. Murphy, but they take less than the price value. It's just something that we wanna try to.
let us negotiate that.
Yes.
That's what I was saying, yes, let us negotiate that.
Because if we can, well, if we can get into that $1 million that we had and buy both pieces, and. Because let's face it, I agree, besides the little front piece, I don't know, that piece is not worth a lot to too many people besides us.
So I just wanna make sure you're asking for permission to just.
Yes.
So it'll still come back to the table for this board to make a final decision around her.
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yeah, I kind of had the same question, like, you know, we don't obviously have to go with appraised value, and the other thing is, you know, I agree with the comments, like, it's like, what are you really getting for your money here, but also, you know, let's think about it, will they sell it, will they not, but if they do, what then, right, so we certainly need to be thinking about that piece too. So,
It was fine.
sorry, anyway,
I think that, you might only have one shot to acquire this property. Yeah, maybe nobody else wants it, but I think it'd be a great asset for the district. Future plans, nobody has the crystal ball, but make all efforts to find it back, but.
Mr. Lane?
I'd like to make a motion that we give the committee authority to negotiate.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor by Mr. Laney,
I'll second.
got a second by Mr. Kleinfelder. Any objections to the motion? So passed. All right, we're gonna go on to item number 3, review cooperative endeavor agreement with the Gonzales Police Department and school security officers, Mr. Parra.
Okay, so, Gonzales PD, we currently have 3 CEAs with them. So the first CEA is for Lloyd, school resource officer. They are not assigned to a specific school, but they do road between Pecan Grove and Gonzales Primary. This person also serves as a backup if East Ascension or Gonzales Middle is down their resource officer, they would go to that site during that time. And so, the next 2 is specific to East Ascension High School to have a permanently assigned SRO at EA during all times during the school day. And there's another one at Gonzales Middle School where they're permanently assigned to Gonzales Middle all day. So if you kind of look at where some of the breakdown, the Rubik School officer, we had a CEA with them that expired at the end of 2023. We negotiated the new CEA with them. So their current CEA expires in December of 2033. So we're good on that CEA. The 2 CEAs that we're asking y'all to consider tonight is for East Ascension High School and Gonzales Middle School. As far as the pricing structure, that's gonna remain the same as what our former CEAs are. The difference between this one, we wanna make sure that we are doing, once we have to renew for the roving school officer, we're on the same timeline as EA and Gonzales Middle. So typically our CEAs last about 10 years. What we're requesting for these 2 is to do an extension for 8 years. So whenever we go back to Gonzales PD comes to us and says we need to renew the CEAs, we have the rover officer, the East Ascension SRO and the Gonzales Middle School SRO, all of their CEAs will expire in December of 2033. And so we've already talked with the city of Gonzales, we've gone back and forth with Nepkin, we've gone with Mr. Sherman Jackson, and we feel like the service that they provide to us, especially at the city schools, is great. We love our partnership with them. So really all we're doing is extending, or we're creating a new CA, but just extending that to the December 2033, like we have with our roving school officer. So it's gonna be an 8-year extension. maintain the same pricing structure that we've done in previous CEAs.
So like, the difference between APSO and GPD, APSO is one agreement for all. GPD works under the civil service, a little bit different, so they have to do a contract for each one, so that's why you see multiple ones. It is a little bit different.
Any question from the board?
Make a motion of, so,
Got a motion on the board by Mr. Murphy. Got a second by Ms. Julie. Any objection to the motion? Okay, so pass. All right. Additional items. Any board? All right, got a motion on the by Mr. Murphy to adjourn.
that's all.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carter. Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you.